and welcome into Your Health. And last week we had Mike Ellis on with us, who is renowned in physical therapy.
Well, thank you.
I've not met you, but I feel like I know you, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things about you.
Well, thank you.
And we're going to talk, what is physical therapy? We're going to actually find out what it is, what you do, because this is something that is recognized today as, again, moving toward 2022 and a new you, a quality of life that you have accessible to you.
That's a term that we use a lot, and as it relates to quality of life, of trying to get somebody back to their normal state so they can enjoy whatever stage in life they are. Physical therapy, the history started in World War II. It was mainly a female population. They were called war nurses, and they mainly worked on amputees and wounds. And the profession from then to now has gone to independent practitioners owning one or multiple clinics in conjunction with physicians and sometimes hospitals. I own a private practice here in town, have been practicing here for about 34 years, and the profession has been wonderful. I must admit, in my early days, I was more interested in the young athlete, and as I approach 60, my interest is now more toward the individual that's closest to my age,
Right.
because my aches and pains are starting to remind me that I'm no longer 29 years old. But the profession has come a long, long ways. It's also more recognized by insurance companies. The ability to hopefully avoid surgery or use physical therapy as an adjunct before surgery or after surgery. But the world of PT, as we know it, has just come a long, long ways from the old World War II days.
Well, for one thing, I would assume that some of that is attributable not to all the amazing knowledge, the things that we have learned. I mean, we're always learning different things about our bodies, and again, equipment. I assume you work with a lot of equipment.
It does, and it's interesting over the 33 years of doing this, of how we protocol treated patients after surgery or to avoid surgery, and how we do things now. It's less painful, believe it or not. It's less aggressive, but it's more timely, getting to a patient quicker after the pathology. That is very, very important. Most of our cases that are surgery, we see them the next day. We might not do much physical therapy, but we do a lot of patient education. Here's what you can do at home. Here's what you can't do at home. Here's how to care for the dressing. Here's what to get ready for next week as we really get started bending that knee or that shoulder or whatever it may be. Patient education, or an educated consumer has confidence in their health care. It's the fear of the unknown that really, really makes the patient hesitant about physical therapy. Dating back to the old World War II days, physical therapists were known as being rather aggressive, and a lot of pain was associated. That has come a long, long ways. It's not quite as painful. Now, it's not a walk in the park, don't get me wrong, but it's not like it was back in I'd say the 70s, even early 80s.
Well, I think the main thing that I hear from you is, again, physical therapy as a function of regaining quality of life. Because just because I break, well, for instance, a couple of years ago, I broke a hip. And wow, that's a shock, like you said, when all of a sudden somebody who's really feisty and independent is totally dependent on somebody else. And I know they had me up the next morning. And one of the SOS docs, by the way, did the surgery on me, Dr. Brock Howell.
Yes.
Did an excellent job. I'm really good at breaking things. Now, that's something I'm good at. And then last year, I broke a wrist, and I think Dr. Freeman worked on that. So I know how important all this is, because you want to get back to being able to be independent and have quality of life.
You bring up Dr. Howell. I took care of him in high school, so that dates me as well. And he actually had major surgery, and I did his rehab after that.
Oh, wow.
And but where it's come from in the last, 10 years of getting people back to their quality of life so they can enjoy, whether it be planting a rose garden or playing on Friday night. Both individuals need confidence, education, reassurance, a game plan. I keep using that word because people want to know what's down the road. Tell me a game plan. Tell me how I'm going to go back skiing this winter. Tell me if I'm ever going to get to hold that grandbaby again.
Right.
Where am I in the process? So when someone comes at our office, we like to sit down with them and just say, look, give me your goal. Where are you trying to get to? And not everybody's the same. So take those individual goals and tell them that is a realistic expectation. And sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's swallowing that's not easy for a patient, but they need to know that. And then trying to set up that game plan of care to accomplish that goal.
Well, I agree. And one thing I know that you do is you will say, okay, for 3 weeks or 6 weeks, you will be on a walker.
Correct.
After that, you are going to a cane. You can drive at such and such a time. And if you know what to expect, which is what I'm hearing you say.
It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah. Instead of, how long am I like this? What do I, you know, it's having a pathway laid out for you.
Correct.
And then I think that, like you're saying, the information, the knowledge that you provide the patient with,
Right.
and the pathway,
Right.
then I think that when you have that goal and you understand, as a patient, you're more willing to work because you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
You're correct. That pathway, the therapist's job is to either stand alongside or sometimes behind and give a little push.
Right.
And there's some really good physical therapists in this community throughout Central Alabama that help patients accomplish those goals.
Well, Mike Ellis, you are one of them.
Well, thank
and
you.
You've worked on a lot of people that you've done a great job because I know them.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're gonna talk some more. We're gonna get into some detail next week.
Okay.
And all of you, thank you so much. And please take care of yourselves. Get yourselves back where you can be. And thanks for being with us. And we'll be right back.